on a preseason version of Monday Night Football. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Josh Harris, the owner of the Washington Commanders, being awkward as all get out. Oh my gosh. Let's start with the exciting Sam Howell. Sam Howell in this preseason game, preseason week 2 against the Ravens, was 19 for 25 passing, had 188 yards, 2 touchdowns. He played the entire first half. That is 4 total drives. He had a 15-play, 72-yard field goal drive, a 6-play drive where they punted at the end, and then a 9-play, 45-yard touchdown drive, and a 10-play, 79-yard touchdown drive. Wow. I got a lot of thoughts, man. First of all, Sam Howell looked awesome. I think I have concerns. I will share them in a moment. But first of all, he looked really good. And he's only 22 years old. So do the math. If he can be the franchise quarterback in Washington, they found a guy who could play there for a long, long, long time. That would be really cool. Now, it's the preseason. The offensive line did fairly well, but I do wonder how they will do against a better defensive front. You know, Philly, Dallas, they play both of those teams twice. I'm not sure what to expect. The Washington Commanders' offensive line is supposed to be a little better this year, but still got some problems. We will see. It doesn't help that, in my opinion, Sam Howell is holding on to the ball too long. Now, we will find out. I don't know if it's too long, guys. So let me be clear. He's holding on to the ball for a long time. I can't tell if it's too long or if that's just his style. I mean, he's a playmaker, and when you watch Patrick Mahomes, an uneducated person would say, he's holding on to the ball way too long. Yeah, but that's his style, and it works, and it's phenomenal. So we'll see. He's a great athlete. Can he keep it up? I'm not sure. He's also playing against the Ravens secondary in the preseason, and the Ravens secondary isn't great to begin with, let alone what they got going on in the preseason. So I'm not sure. Against a better secondary, like when Washington plays Dallas this year twice, 2 great corners, a great front 7, it's going to be a different story. So I still am cautiously optimistic about Sam Howell. But my gosh, number one, the guy's got a strong arm. He looks fantastic throwing the football. He had a throw on 3rd and 15, took a sack on 2nd and 2. I was kind of banging my head against the wall like, what are we doing? But then he followed it up with a throw on 3rd and 15 to Cole Turner, his tight end. And I went, whoa, that's a dime. That's a really nice throw. Great timing. And just the ball flies out of his hand. I never could throw the ball that way when I was a quarterback. Like, oh my goodness, it's incredible. Sam Howell had multiple 3rd down conversions for like long 3rd down conversions. 3rd and 8, 3rd and 15, 3rd and 10. You're like, man, he is dialing up really good throws here. Now, I talked about that 2nd and 2. There was a 2nd and 2 where he took a really bad sack, in my opinion. If he'd hung out in the pocket, it's kind of messy that there were bodies around him. I've heard that people say regularly that it's kind of like playing quarterback is like being in a phone booth with a bunch of wolves. Like, it's never going to be comfortable. You're never going to feel safe fully. But it kind of got messy in front of him. He bailed out to the right. Instead of hanging in the pocket, if he'd hung out in the pocket, he had 2 guys open come across the middle at the short level and the intermediate level. I thought he had a completion that he didn't throw because he got uncomfortable in the pocket. He rolls out right, had an opportunity just to pull up and throw the ball out of bounds. Okay, fair enough. You didn't like it, you got uncomfortable in the pocket, but then he compounded the mistake by not only not throwing it away, but then trying to run left for some reason, taking a bad sack. Like that play can't happen. That's not great. It's concerning because that over the course of a whole season, you can't have plays like that. You got to learn from that moment. That 2nd and 2 cannot be a habit Sam Howell has throughout the year. Not hanging out in the pocket, passing up open guys over the middle, and then not throwing the ball away when you should. I mean, don't take a huge loss on 2nd and 2. Just live to see another down. I also didn't see Sam Howell. I remember he slid one time. For the most part, though, he's taken too many hits. It's a preseason game, and you got to protect your body. There's a long season ahead. I like Sam Howell's aggressiveness. I like that he can run. But don't let yourself get leveled in a preseason game. Like, come on. And frankly, not in the regular season. You got to protect yourself. You can only sustain so many hits before you're going to get injured. That's the story for basically every quarterback. You got to slide. You got to get down. I've said a lot of negative stuff, but I want to be clear. He looked fantastic on Monday Night Football. The preseason version against the Ravens, my gosh. There are 3 young quarterbacks this year that are being elevated to become a starting quarterback. Jordan Love in Green Bay, Desmond Ridder in Atlanta, and then Sam Howell here in Washington. And, like, I watched this game and thought, are they all going to work? Like, they all are so promising. I'm not sure, like, mathematically, 3 rookie quarterbacks, 3 first-year starters, 6 new starters around the NFL on top of the other guy. I'm sure someone I'm missing there. But I think of C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson, Sam Howell, Desmond Ridder, Jordan Love. Those are the guys I'm really paying attention to. And I'm like, they can't possibly all work. Like, mathematically, some of them have to fail. It's just, but, like, we are entering a golden age of the quarterback position where I watch some of the stuff that's going on in high school football, and I'm like, that's incredible. Like, the quarterbacks are getting better and better and better, and I think the failure rate's going to go down farther and farther. And, I just think that the expectation at the quarterback position has been elevated, and quarterbacks are better than ever. I'm not saying all 6 guys are going to do well, but they all have a possibility of working out, and that's a crazy feeling. I really think Sam Howell's got potential here. We'll see. Again, he's holding on to the ball too long. I don't know how much I trust that offensive line and for how long. He trusts his receivers a lot, and they got some good ones in Washington. Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, Jahan Dotson, Diami Brown, former North Carolina teammate with Sam Howell. Get a really nice touchdown catch. They got a good group of receivers in Washington. Now, it does concern me a little bit where, he's got no fear of letting it rip a little bit vertically. And that throw to Diami Brown, you can say, well, they've played together a lot before. He knows where he's going to be. They trust each other. I don't know that that's a touchdown pass against a better, it's a throw where Diami Brown was kind of behind the corner. Usually you throw that up and over to the back pylon. He just threw a ball up for grabs. His guy went and got the ball. That's awesome, but a better corner probably doesn't allow that to be a touchdown. That kind of habit throughout the year, that could be a problem too. I'm just not sure. You got to also acknowledge, though, Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, these are guys who do go get the football. So maybe we will consistently see Washington's receivers just out jumping and, out boxing out other defenders to go get the football. I'm not sure, but that's a potential problem moving forward. But again, the concerns I have about Sam Howell, holding onto the ball too long, the offensive line against tougher competition could be a problem. Is he going to slide and protect himself? And then, those throws vertically against tight coverage where he shows no fear. That's awesome, but Stephon Gilmore and Trevon Diggs for Dallas are ready for that. And so we'll see. I'm really fascinated. I want to be clear. I've been really hesitant to embrace Sam Howell here. I in this topic just now, I've talked about things that do concern me because I have reason. There are things to be concerned about. No player is perfect, but I do really believe in this kid, and I'm a big fan of him. I hope he does well. He's 22 years old. One thing I really like about Sam Howell is that he appears so calm and totally relaxed. Like, nothing appears to bother him. And it frankly really makes me want to see him play in the fourth quarter of a big game. Like, how does he handle a big, stressful moment? Because my bet, if I am a betting man, I would imagine he's going to handle that really well because so far we've seen nothing to indicate otherwise. Like, he really looks like he handles stress and big moments incredibly well because he's done that throughout his entire career. So, I don't know, man. I'm fascinated by Sam Howell. I just, there's so many young quarterbacks. Can they all work? Mathematically, that's never happened. It doesn't make sense to say that. Mathematically, some of them should fail, but there's a lot of reasons to believe in all these young quarterbacks, and I wonder which ones I'm watching the preseason going, oh, that's awesome, but it's not going to work and not going to translate to the regular season, and which ones are, they look good now and they're going to keep looking good into the regular season as things get tougher and defenses get more complicated. Now, there was a moment where Washington owner Josh Harris came on to the ESPN broadcast. He's in the booth with Troy Aikman and Joe Buck. And first of all, if you haven't seen the moment, you should look up Josh owner handshake moment where Joe Buck, I guess, is talking next to the owner Josh Harris, and he's talking using his hands. His hand is kind of lingering out there for a little too long. And randomly, for no reason, Josh Harris tries to grab it to shake it, and then he misses. It doesn't work, and he kind of grabs it awkwardly, and it's like, what's happening? And you see Troy Aikman off to the left, I guess left of the screen, right in their little order, trying not to laugh, trying to hold it in. Maybe he was nervous. Maybe Josh Harris was on something. He's a billionaire. The expectations are so different for them. I have no idea. I'm convinced that no billionaire is a normal human being who just can operate at a normal level, but He came across like a weird guy, whether he was nervous or on something. I have no idea. Was it drugs? Like, who knows what happened? But if you haven't watched the appearance of Josh Harris on Monday Night Football, and I don't mean just a handshake moment, like even the way he's talking, looking around, the answers, I'm like, what's this guy on? What's happening here? Why is this such an awkward interaction? Maybe he's just an awkward, nerdy billionaire guy. That's probably possible. Probably possible. That's probably what happened. I mean, again, how relatable do you expect the guy who's a billionaire to be? Like, he's just not one of us. It's a different type of person. So I don't know what to make of it, but it was certainly awkward and entertaining. If you haven't watched the moment with the handshake, I encourage you to look it up.